Hello, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday. The S&P 500 was down 0.3% today. Actually, it's been up so many days in a row here and kind of hitting new all-time highs. Not huge gains, but just small amounts continuing to go up. So today was one of the first kind of down days. It seems like the market, if you look at yesterday, it was basically flat, down a little bit here. Probably waiting to see what's going to happen on Friday. We get the big jobs report, of course, on Friday, which is going to be important, but more important will be what happens with the tariffs. They were paused from July 9th to August 1st. Some have been worked out, obviously, at least, for the most part with Japan and the EU. China, they're still working on. That pause was done until the middle of this month. They're working on that right now to try to maybe extend to that pause another 90 days as they continue to work on their trade deal. Most of these trade deals really take a couple of years to finally get through all of the different pieces as far as that goes. A lot of what we're hearing about right now is kind of a framework. So 15% with the EU is kind of a framework. There might be some carve outs that happen here or there as they start to develop these, but so I think the market's maybe a little bit concerned about this August 1st date. I don't think it'll probably be that big of a deal. The tariffs are here. What they actually do and what impact they do, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But market isn't moving that greatly. Like, for example, this week I thought the market might move positively because of the EU settlement tariffs at 15%. Really hasn't happened. So I think that all of these things are starting to kind of become more numb to the market, unlike what we saw in April when the tariffs were first announced. The market dropped tremendously, and then when it was paused, it jumped back up tremendously. We seem to be kind of past that reaction standpoint as far as that goes. Haven't seen tremendous amounts of impact in pricing or employment or earnings. We've seen some so far from these tariffs, so markets probably settling in on that also. We'll see what the actual results are. But again, this is a big week. Lots of things happening. The Federal Reserve again tomorrow will come out and say, hey, we're not cutting rates, most likely. And then they will hopefully tell us some of the things that they are doing in the last, statement of economic projection that was put out in June from the Federal Reserve. They were still on a consensus basis, still expecting two rate cuts. We're still at, I think, 66% right now, a bet in the futures market that we'll have a rate cut in September. Now that was higher, and some of the numbers that have come out have been kind of good, and the unemployment and the job openings and all those types of things are pretty solid. So we'll see what day comes out with tomorrow. Don't be surprised to see a fairly good, robust jobs report that comes out tomorrow. Again, one of the weird things that's happened here is because of these tariffs, economically things have kind of accelerated a bit as people have continued to purchase things, and companies have continued to purchase things, hopefully in front of some of these bigger tariffs being applied to prices. Because even some of those tariffs that are hitting these companies aren't hitting the price because the companies are taking the hit. And we saw that with Kroger, we saw that with GM, et cetera. So they're absorbing those. Again, they won't do this forever, in my opinion. Eventually that will come through the price. But if you're going to go buy a car from GM, or if you're going to go, do some major purchases, obviously it'd be better to do that before they start passing on those, increased costs to the consumer as far as that goes. So anyway, that's what's going on today. We'll just have to see what happens here. I think this week could be a little bit rocky. It usually is anyway, because we get these big earnings reports from Meta and Apple and Microsoft and Amazon. And it's kind of funny because a lot of these reports can be very good, but the market tends to be a little bit down during this week, and then maybe it'll go again next week. So, we'll see what happens. We are heading towards a softer time of the year. So we'll see how that plays out, but look forward to being able to talk to you tomorrow. Thank you very much.